Today on MTG Unpacked, we're getting stuck into the Streets of New Capenna Commander deck, Cabaretti Cacophony. So the commander here is Kit, Canto, Mayhem, Diva. And let's see, the show must go on. What do we get in here? We have 100 card deck with 15 new cards, deck box, 10 double-sided tokens, foil, etch, display, commander, life wheel, strategy, insert, and reference card. So without further ado, let's get into it. So you're looking at about 40 to 50 bucks US for these. So a little bit on the pricier side than usual. Okay, so here we have our foil printed on there. We've got some foil tokens as well. And a looks like a punch out thing on the other side. And a deck box here. There is the commander. And looks like we've still got that problem with the boxes again. Bit of a gluing issue. So we'll remove the divider. We'll take a look at the flyer in a second. We've got the wheel here. Life wheel goes up to 40. Yep. And on the other side 1 to 20. So here's our deck. And what is this? Something a little bit extra, collector booster sample pack. So I'm thinking they're using these to try to lure people to the collector boosters, give them a little taste. You really don't get much here, but you know what? It's better than nothing. So we have Secret Lair ad and Corpse Explosion with the extended art, along with Foil Racers Ring Showcase. So I think these are somewhat random, so you'll probably pull something different than I did. Let me know in the comments what you got. Alright, so let's take a look at the deck here. We'll separate out the lands. And so we have lands, tokens. Yep, and let's get stuck into the deck proper. So starting off we have Kit, Canto, Mayhem, Diva. Say foil, mythic, legendary creature, Cat Bar Druid. There's a great combo. 3/3 for 4. So when Kit Canto enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. At the beginning of combat and each player's turn, you may tap 2 untapped creatures you control. When you do, target creature that player controls gets +2/+2 and gains trample until end of turn. Goad that creature. So basically, goading up makes it attack if able. Next, we've got Fabine, Boss's Confidant. Legendary creature, Cat Advisor, another mythic. 3/6 for 6. Creature tokens you control have haste, and it has Parley. At the beginning of combat on your turn, each player reveals the top card of their library. For each land card revealed this way, you create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. Then creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn for each non-land card revealed this way. Then each player draws a card. So that's another foil. Next up we have Rumor Gatherer, creature elf wizard, 2/1 for 3, has Alliance. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1. And if this is the second time this ability has resolved this turn, draw a card instead. And actually, before we go too much further, I should highlight, you got a display commander. They usually tuck it in amongst the lands here. So let's take a quick squiz at that so you can see. This one's thicker cardstock, so hence the term display commander. You cannot shuffle this into your deck, believe me. That would not work at all. Okay, next up we have Sizzling Soloist. Creature human citizen, 3/2 for 4. Has Alliance. Whenever another creature enters battlefield under your control, target creature an opponent controls can't block this turn. If this is the second time this ability has resolved this turn, that creature attacks during its controller's next combat phase if able. Next up we have Cabaretti Charm, instant for 3, so you've got a menu of options here, choose one. Cabaretti Charm deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to target creature or planeswalker. All creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain trample until end of turn. Or create 2 1/1 green and white citizen creature tokens. Next up we have Cabaretti Courtyard. It's the land. When it enters battlefield, sacrifice it. When you do, search your library for a basic mountain, forest or plains card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle and you gain 1 life. Then we have Intangible Virtue. Enchantment for 2. Creature tokens you control get +1/+1 and have Vigilance. Okay, so we're probably going to be spewing out a bunch of tokens with this deck. We've got Orzhov Advocist. Creature Human Advisor 1/4 for 3. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player may put 2 +1/+1 counters on a creature they control. If a player does, creatures that player controls can't attack you or planeswalkers you control until your next turn. I was wondering what the downside for your opponents would be there. Path to Exile. This is a excellent card. Instant for a single white. Exile target creature. Its controller may search your library for a basic land card. Put that card onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Oh, another nice one. Beast Within. Instant for 3. Destroy target permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 green beast creature token. And Cultivate. Sorcery for 3. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Reveal them. Put one onto the battlefield tapped and the other into your hand, then shuffle. Harmonize. Sorcery for 4. Draw 3 cards. Very simple and straightforward. Leafkin Druid. Creature Elemental Druid 0/3 for 2. Tap to add green mana. If you control 4 or more creatures, add 2 green instead. Sakura Tribe Elder. Creature Snake Shaman 1/1 for 2. So when you sacrifice it, search your library for a basic land card. Put that card onto the battlefield tap, then shuffle. Another nice one. Wood Elves. Creature Elf Scout 1/1 for 3. So when it enters battlefield, search your library for a forest card. Put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Next up we have Boros Charm. Instant for 2. Choose one. So it can deal 4 damage to target player or planeswalker. Permanents you control gain indestructible until end of turn, or target creature gains double strike until end of turn. And what would a commander deck be without Arcane Signet? Artifact for 2. Tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. Okay, Bloodthirsty Blade. Artifact equipment for 2. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and is goaded. So it attacks each combat if able and attacks a player other than you if able. And for 1, attach Bloodthirsty Blade to target creature an opponent controls. Activate only as a sorcery. And we've got Commander's Sphere. Artifact for 3. Tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. And if you suck it, you get to draw a card. Felwar Stone. So I think they've been putting a bunch of these in all of the decks. Artifact for 2. Tap to add 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. Boss's Chauffeur. Creature Elf Citizen 0/0 for 5. So it enters battlefield with a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to 1 plus the number of other creatures you control. And it has Alliance. Whenever another creature enters battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Boss's Chauffeur. And when it dies, create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token for each +1/+1 counter on it. And Grand Crescendo. Instant for X and 2 white. Create X 1/1 green and white citizen creature tokens. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. That's like a nice combat trick. Master of Ceremonies. Creature Rhino Druid 3/4 for 4. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent chooses money, friends, or secrets. What is this about? For each player who chose money, you and that player each create a treasure token. For each player who chose friends, you and that player each create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. For each player who chose secrets, you and that player each draw a card. And we've got a split card here. Indulge is a sorcery for 3. Whenever a creature you control attacks this turn, create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token that's tapped and attacking. And then we'll flip it sideways. We've got Access sorcery for 2. Has Aftermath. So cast the spell only from your graveyard, then exile it. You get to create a treasure token for each creature you controlled that dealt combat damage to a player this turn. So Indulge to access. The idea is you would probably most likely cast the first half and then the second from the graveyard. We've got Life of the Party. Creature Elemental 0/1 for 4. Has First Strike, Trample, and Haste. Whenever it attacks, it gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. When it enters the battlefield, if it's not a token, each opponent creates a token that's a copy of it. The tokens are goaded for the rest of the game. Okay, they probably won't last too long then. They attack each combat if able and attack a player other than you if able. Rose Room Treasurer. Creature Ogre Warrior 4/3 for 4. Has Alliance. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Create a treasure token if this is the first or second time this ability has resolved this turn. Otherwise, you may pay X. When you do, Rose Room Treasurer deals X damage to any target. Seize the Spotlight. Sorcery for 3. Each opponent chooses Fame or Fortune. For each player who chose Fame, gain control of a creature that player controls until end of turn. Untap those creatures, and they gain haste until end of turn. For each player who chose Fortune, you draw a card and create a treasure token. Crash the Party. Instant for 6. Create a tapped 4/4 green Rhino Warrior creature token for each tapped creature you control. So that's continuing the tokens theme here. Killer Service. Enchantment for 3. When Killer Service enters battlefield, create a number of food tokens equal to the number of opponents you have. The artifacts with pay 2 taps. Sack this artifact, you gain 3 life. And at the beginning of your end step, you may pay 2 and sacrifice a token. If you do, create a 4/4 green Rhino Warrior creature token. So we should have a bunch of those tokens here. We'll check those out later. Scepter of Celebration. Artifact equipment for 3. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has trample. And whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, create that many 1/1 green and white citizen creature tokens, equip it for 3. And Vivian's Stampede. Sorcery for 6. Each creature you control gains vigilance, trample, and melee until end of turn. Whenever a creature with melee attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each opponent you attacked this combat. And at the beginning of the next main phase this turn, draw a card for each player who was dealt combat damage this turn. And next up, we have Bess Soul Nourisher. Legendary creature, human citizen, 1/1 for 3. Whenever one or more other creatures with base power and toughness 1/1 enter the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Bess Soul Nourisher. And whenever Bess attacks, each other creature you control with base power and toughness 1/1 gets +X until end of turn, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on Bess. And Cabaretti Confluence. Sorcery for 6. Choose 3. You may choose the same mode more than once, so you can create a token that's a copy of a target creature you control. It gains haste. Sack it at the beginning of the next end step, or exile target artifact or enchantment or creatures target player controls gets +1/+1 and gains first strike until end of turn. We've got Prosperous Partnership. Enchantment for 3. So when it enters battlefield, create 2 1/1 green and white citizen creature tokens. Tap 3 untap creatures you control. You get to create a treasure token. And False Floor. Artifact for 4. It enters battlefield tapped. Creatures enter the battlefield tapped. And for 2 tap, exile False Floor. You get to exile all untapped creatures. Activate only as a sorcery. Call the Coppercoats. Instant for 3. Has Strive. So this spell costs 1 and a white more to cast for each target beyond the first. Choose any number of target opponents. Create X 1/1 white human soldier creature tokens, where X is the number of creatures those opponents control. And Duelist's Heritage. Enchantment for 3. Whenever one or more creatures attack, you may have target attacking creature gain double strike until end of turn. So I've noticed you're giving your creatures a bunch of extra abilities with a lot of these cards, or pumping them up. We've got Felidar Retreat. Enchantment for 4 has Landfall. Whenever a land enters battlefield under your control, choose 1. Create a 2/2 white Cat Beast creature token, or put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Those creatures gain vigilance until end of turn. And Fell the Mighty. Sorcery for 5. Destroy all creatures with power greater than target creature's power. Martial Coup. Sorcery for X and 2 white. Create X 1/1 white soldier creature tokens. If X is 5 or more, destroy all other creatures. That is awesome. We've got an Agitator Ant. Creature insect 2/2/3. At the beginning of your end step, each player may put 2 +1/+1 counters on a creature they control. Goad each creature that had counters put on it this way. So we learned about goading earlier. Kazul, Tyrant of the Cliffs. Legendary creature Ogre Warrior. 5/4 for 5. Whenever a creature an opponent controls attacks, if you're the defending player, create a 3/3 red ogre creature token unless that creature's controller pays 3. And Magus of the Wheel. Creature human wizard 3/3 for 3. Pay 1 and red, tap, sack it. Each player discards their hand and draws 7 cards. And Outpost Siege. Enchantment for 4. As it enters battlefield, choose Khans or Dragons. You can probably guess which block this came from. Khans. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. Until end of turn, you may play that card Or if you choose dragons, whenever a creature you control leaves the battlefield outpost, siege deals 1 damage to any target. And Zerzoth, Chaos Rider, legendary creature devil, 2/3 for 3. Whenever an opponent draws their first card each turn, if it's not their turn, you create a 1/1 red devil creature token with. When this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. And whenever one or more devils you control attack one or more players, you and those players each draw a card, then discard a card at random. We've got Arasta of the Endless Web, legendary enchantment creature spider, 3/5 for 4 with reach. Whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/2 green spider creature token with reach. And we have Awakening Zone, enchantment for 3. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may create a 0/1 colorless Eldrazi spawn creature token. It has sacrifice this creature, add colorless mana. And Beastmaster Ascension, enchantment for 3. Whenever a creature you control attacks, you may put a quest counter on Beastmaster Ascension, and as long as it has 7 or more quest counters on it, creatures you control get +5/+5. Whoa! So you can beef up your creatures as well. That's a very green thing to do. Champion of Lambholt, creature whom warrior, 1/1 for 3. Creatures with power less than Champion of Lambholt's power can't block creatures you control. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Champion of Lambholt. So again, that makes life more and more difficult for your opponents. We got Sandworm Convergence, enchantment for 8. Creatures with flying can't attack you or planeswalkers you control, and at the beginning of your end step, create a 5/5 green worm creature token. And oh, this one, Scoot Swarm, creature insect, 1/1 for 3. Has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 green insect creature token. If you control 6 or more lands, create a token that's a copy of Scoot Swarm instead. So you're going to overrun the battlefield with bugs. Shamanic Revelation, sorcery for 5. Draw a card for each creature you control. Has ferocious. You gain 4 life for each creature you control with power 4 or greater. And Sylvan Offering, sorcery for X and a green. Choose an opponent. You and that player each create an XX green Treefolk creature token. Choose an opponent. You and that player each create X 1/1 green Elf Warrior creature tokens. And Thunderfoot Baloth, creature beast, 5/5 for 6 with trample. Has Lieutenant. As long as you control your commander, Thunderfoot Baloth gets +2/+2. Another creatures you control get +2/+2 and have trample. Artifact Mutation, instant for 2. Destroy target artifact. It can't be regenerated. Create X 1/1 green Sepulchre creature tokens where X is that artifact's mana value. So more tokens to look for later on. We've got Assemble the Legion, enchantment for 5. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a muster counter on Assemble the Legion. Then create a 1/1 red and white soldier creature token with haste for each muster counter on Assemble the Legion. We've got Aura Mutation, instant for 2. Destroy first target enchantment. Then create X 1/1 green Sepulchre creature tokens where X is that enchantment's mana value. And Camaraderie, sorcery for 6. You gain X life and draw X cards where X is the number of creatures you control. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. And I nearly skipped over. Oh, this one's awesome. Mythic Gahiji, Honored One, legendary creature beast, 4/4 for 5. Whenever a creature attacks one of your opponents or a planeswalker an opponent controls, that creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. And another Mythic March of the Multitudes, instant for X, green and 2 white, has Convoke. So your creatures can help cast a spell. Each creature you tap while casting a spell pays for 1 or 1 mana of that creature's color. Create X 1/1 soldier creature tokens with lifelink. And Sylvala, Explorer Return, legendary creature Elf Scout, 2/4 for 3 with Parley. Tap, each player reveals the top card of their library. For each non-land card revealed this way, add green mana and you gain 1 life. Then each player draws a card. And I think this is the last one, yep. We have Idol of Oblivion, artifact for 2. Tap, draw a card, activate only if you created a token this turn. Or pay 8, tap, sacrifice Idol of Oblivion. Create a 10/10 colorless Eldrazi creature token. Okay. Yeah, you expect something crazy for that amount of mana. And before we take a look at the mana base, just a real quick look at this flyer here. So I should have showed this one earlier actually. So this is about playing the deck Cabaretti Cacophony. So a Cult of Druids, interesting. Commander rules. And we've got the fabulous kit there. And on the other side, Kit Canto Mayhem Diva. So some nice lore to soak in before you play the deck. And then we will take a squiz at the mana base and the tokens here. So I like to leave that towards the end. People are mainly interested in how the deck works. We've got Canopy Vista. Land, forest, plains, tap to add green or white. Enters battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. Castle Ardenvale enters battlefield tapped unless you control a plains. Tap for white for 2 and 2 white. Tap, create a 1/1 white human creature token. Castle Embereth. So some of these are from Throne of Eldraino. Castle Embereth enters battlefield tapped unless you control a mountain. Tap for red for 1 and 2 red. Tap creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. And Cinderglade. Tap for red or green. Enters battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. I think we saw that in one of the other decks. And this one as well. Exotic Orchard. Tap to add 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. Fortified Village. As it enters battlefield, you may reveal a forest or plains card from your hand. If you don't, it enters battlefield tap. Tap it for green or white. Game Trail. So here's another one we saw in the other deck. As it enters battlefield, you may reveal a mountain or forest card from your hand. If you don't, it enters battlefield tap. Tap for red or green. Mossfire Valley for 1 tap. Add red and green. Rugged Prairie. So I think this is what they call like a filter land. Tap to add colorless mana. Or for red or white. Tap. You get to add 2 red, 2 white, or red and white mana. Sungrass Prairie, it's a land, pay 1, tap, add green and white. Temple of Triumph, enters battlefield, tap. When it enters battlefield, scry 1, tap it for red or white. Ooh, this is a lot of text. Windbrisk Heights has Hideaway 4. So when this land enters battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library, exile 1 face down, and put the rest on the bottom in a random order. It enters battlefield, tap, tap it for white. And for a white tap, you may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost if you attack with 3 or more creatures this turn. And I was wondering when we would get to this. Soul Ring, pretty much in every commander deck. Artifact for 1, tap to add 2 colorless mana. And Ash Barrens, tap for colorless mana or basic land cycling 1. Pay 1, discard this card. You get to search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle. Command Tower. Tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. And Jungle Shrine enters battlefield. Tap. Tap it for red, green, or white. Myriad Landscape. So we saw this one before. Enters battlefield tapped. Tap for colorless for 2. Tap. Sack it. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards that share a land type. Put them onto the battlefield. Tap. Then shuffle. And Naya Panorama. Land, tap for colors for 1 tap. Sack it, search your library for a basic mountain, forest, or plains card. Put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. So that's the alternate name here for the Cabaretti. You might know that better as Naya for that particular color combo. Path of Ancestry enters battlefield tap. Tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. When that mana is spent to cast a creature spell that shares a creature type with your commander, scry 1. And we have Thriving Bluff, enters battlefield tapped. As it enters battlefield, choose a color other than red. Tap to add red or 1 mana of the chosen color. And then we have Thriving Grove, so same thing for green. Thriving Heath, same thing for white. And then basic lands, so mountains we have 3, forests 7 unless I miscounted, plains 3 of those, and then this is something cool they're doing, putting in the full art lands. So you get a mountain, a forest, and a plains. Okay, so let's take a look at the tokens, and then we'll wrap things up. We've got Eldrazi Spawn, token creature Eldrazi Spawn. Sack this creature, add colorless. It's a 0/1. On the other side, we've got a human 1/1. Just fairly straightforward. Eldrazi 10/10. Token creature Eldrazi. On the other side, human soldier 1/1. Got a cat beast 2/2. A soldier with lifelink 1/1. Devil 1/1. When this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. And a 1/1 soldier with haste. We've got an ogre 3/3. Bunch of different tokens in this one. Insect 1/1. We've got a beast 3/3. And sapling 1/1. Treefolk star. And spider with reach 1/2. Elf warrior 1/1. And a 5/5 worm. Citizen 1/1. And food token, so you pay 2 tap, sack this artifact, you gain 3 life. Treasure token, sacrifice this artifact, so when you tap it, add 1 mana of any color. And a Rhino Warrior 4/4. And some +1/+1 counters with the Goaded token on the other side. And parts your turn and popular Magic formats. So absolutely a ton of tokens in this one. So if that's the sort of deck you like, you might want to pick this one up. Leave a note in the comments what you think. We will have the remaining 2 decks coming up later today, so stay tuned. Hope everyone's staying safe and healthy out there. Thanks for watching and have a great day.